Hi, guys, and welcome to Becoming a Mommy, the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us and being with us today. It's been a minute since we last uploaded, and apologies from our side. We had promised weekly episodes and then went on hiatus. Shouldn't have been like that, but then a few things that we needed to tie on, and now we're back. Um, Sue, how are you? How's everything from your end?
Um, we're all good. The sky has opened for us, so it's been raining like crazy. But yeah, everything else is good. Life's good. Hectic, but good. Yeah. And I'm super
Okay, so
excited to be
before
recording.
we start, I start explaining what this episode is about. I just wanted us to take a moment and talk about what's happened in our lives. Just the past couple of weeks. What have been some of the interesting things that have been happening in your end, other than the rain?
So what happened? My baby turned 3 and she's it's like just like that. She's like a grown person, like you can
Yeah.
start to see these things, and I'm super, super happy about that. She's been on earth for 1,000 days. Well, 1,000 and more now, but yeah. So that was one thing. And then the other thing was that I
Okay.
made a box. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you pictures so we can like put in the. But I made a box. I learned how to crochet. I made it from scratch, and I'm like super. It's not perfect. It's not like the craftiest thing out there,
Small,
but I'm
small
super proud of
steps.
myself for
All
doing
starts
it.
with
So
baby steps, and
yeah.
then we get there to like the perfection.
Mm.
I've been alright.
Yeah. How have you been?
Work,
And what's been going
not
on your
much
end?
really. Work, coming home, being a mom to someone, but yeah, the past few weeks have been tormented because um, Evans almost won, and I have been stressed because I felt like the months before I felt like I was ready, for when he turns 1 and whatnot. And now that it's getting closer, it's actually just days. Yeah, I have a couple of days, and I still
Mm.
haven't figured out what people do for their babies on their first birthday. So I still don't know. The dad doesn't know. My mom doesn't know. It only seems like my best friend is the one coming up with like ideas where she's like, oh, maybe let's do a braai, or maybe let's do a lunch. Let's do this. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I should do. So that's the
Um,
only thing that's been happening.
um, For me, when my daughter turned 1, I realized I was also in that space, what am I gonna do? But I think on the day actually I realized that it's more for the parents and the grown people than it is for the baby because the
Yeah.
baby is not much of a person then. So in terms of like decision making and saying I like this and things like that, I remember we just had like a small get together thing at home, and I made a cake. I made a point to make a fancy cake, and this
Yeah.
child was not even making eating cake. So there was that. But I see a lot of people
Yeah.
also do these cake smash photo shoots. So it's more like for memories than it is for the baby to experience it in that time. It's to make memories so that when they're like 5 or whatever, you'll
Yeah.
show them and be like, this was your first
I don't know.
birthday.
It
So
sounds like money to
maybe think
me.
along those lines. No, man, you can do your own. You can do
If
your
I had
own.
it my way,
I'm like,
if I had it
I'm
my
like the
way, I would sit
twitchiest
down, I
person
would
out
cry,
there.
and then I would tell him, "Hey, Evan,
So,
happy birthday!" And we'll get past our day and just continue with life. Because honestly, I have been so emotional because I keep thinking, "Oh my
um,
God, this child is actually
yeah.
turning 1. Why are you turning 1? Like why? You can be a
Hmm.
baby for ex-
They grow up so fast. Like before you have before you have babies, and people are always like, children grow up so fast. Like you never
yeah.
really understand
Because
until you have one of
I
your
remember
own. They
when
literally grow up so
Kylie
fast.
Jenner, when she had a baby, I was like, oh, I just blinked and this kid is already grown. What's happening? And then I have my own, and people keep saying, "Oh my God, he's growing so fast." And I'm like, "Where? Like how? I don't want that to happen. What do you
It's
mean he's
growing
growing
so
so fast?"
fast.
It's annoying.
No,
But yeah, so that's about it.
no,
That's what's
they're
been
always
happening.
playing.
Anyway,
They're always
introducing
playing.
today's topic. This topic I'm actually very excited about because it actually just, we're trying to see how different life is when you're a single mom, which is me, and then when you're a married mom, which is Sue. So Sue's the married one in this duo. I am single as hell. Okay, I'm not really, but but I am a single mom. I
I was
am a
about to
single
say,
mom.
are you sure?
It's very complicated. I am a single mom and doing the single mom's things. Now, let me just say the background of this video is I've seen a lot of stuff trending on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, just about how different lifestyles are when it for single moms and married moms, where some think single moms sometimes might have it easier than married moms, while other people think married moms have it easier than single moms. And then there's a whole situation of the power dynamics, when you're co-parenting and doing all those things than when you're married. So we just wanted to see how different it really is, considering we are the dynamic. So um let's just you know um put it out there. um why How is it like, as a married mom? Like, how would you define yourself as a mom because you're married? Let's start from that.
Um, that's such a hard question. Before before we jump into that, I just wanted to say, because of the intro that we've just done and all of that, that I personally feel like both things have their own challenges. So in certain ways, where it's easier for you, in certain parts might be harder for me because
Yeah.
I'm a married mom, and vice versa. So it's not really, I don't think it's not comparing
True.
apples to apples. You're like taking an orange and an apple and be like, which one is the better orange here, type thing. Anyway, um I don't know how to define it. I'm just a mom. I'm me, I'm a mom, and I'm a wife on top of everything else that I am. So yeah, I don't know how else I don't know how else to
Do you
define
think
it.
it's
I
easier,
really don't. I really don't.
being a mom, having a partner that you constantly live with? Do you think it's easier? Does it make things easier?
And in certain ways, I think it is. I'll give you an example. My daughter has a cough. So last night she couldn't sleep and she was having difficulty breathing. So we both got up because I got up first, but then eventually my husband did get up because it was just like I didn't know what to do. And
Yeah.
we bought this thing.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
said it.
a
Yeah. Yep.
thing that you put in your nose and you suck to get the mucus out. So when it's time to do that, he does that because he's I don't know. He sucks harder than I do. I don't know how else to explain it. So he does that, and so we needed to do that. So he got up and he did it, and
Yeah.
then after that, I just rubbed Vicks and she slept. So if I was on my own, it probably would have taken longer, or I wouldn't even have thought of doing that, or like those kind of things. But then there's also other times where just say we might disagree on how to discipline the child, or like she'll cry. Like now she's really trying. From the week that she turned 3, she's been like, I'm up to here. you know she she's testing boundaries. honestly. She's testing boundaries. She's trying to, I don't know, maybe make sense, see how far she can get away with certain things. And
Yeah.
it's like ridiculous because it's all day, every day. And times like that, we might disagree. Like she'll cry and throw a tantrum. And I don't want to, I want her to know that tantruming, and she's such a crier. She makes so much noise. Like you will easily give in, and it irritates my husband. So he'll like maybe wait for a certain time just to show that it's not okay, and then he'll do whatever needs to be done. Where you're not on the
Yeah.
same page with certain things, where authority. So but then there's also other times where I'm like, I really have no idea what I would do if I was on my own, and it's just better to be both
Yeah.
of us there in the situation and try and figure things out, bounce ideas off of each other. And yeah, so I don't know. I think, like I said in the beginning, that it's vice versa. Like for single moms, certain things, like probably if what what's a good example? If I want to do something on my own,
Yeah.
I can easily just say, "Can you watch her?" And then I can go do whatever I want to do. And I think maybe if you're a single mom, and especially if you don't have a support system around you, then how are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
Like you're literally taking your baby to interviews if you have to, because there's
Well, it
nobody else
is
out there. So
very
yeah.
interesting to be a single mom. But one thing that
Um.
I make
Yeah.
jokes about a lot with a lot of my friends is I am the default parent, you know? So with anything that happens to this child, I am the default parent. There's nothing like shared, like I'm the default parent, the father is a secondary parent because if he gets sick, that's on my head. If this happened, that's on me. If that happens, that's on me. So everything has to come to me first, before the dad. So I am the default parent in whatever happens. And it's not the easiest thing because I think one thing that when you're single, you start envying people that are married is the shared responsibility when it comes to babies, where if you have to sleep at night, you might ask your partner, hey, can you watch her if she's awake? But it's different for us because it's just me. And like you said, you actually do need a community behind you when you're a single mom and if you want to get things done. Because the days, oh my God, the days when I wake up and I look at Evan and I see all the naughty things he's doing, and I'm like, I don't have the emotional strength for this today. And it's not in a bad way. It's not like I don't love my child. I do with all of my heart. But the days when I'm just down emotionally and, physically, even sometimes, and I can't deal with him. If it wasn't for having a maid, if it wasn't for having my mom around, then I don't know what I'll do. I think this is the part where people actually want to scratch their eyes off because it's like, I don't have that emotional strength around me. I can't deal with you today. I just need, time off. So the things like that, when you look at things, yeah, as in you kind of get to that situation where you're like, I think married people have it easier than I do. Like you said, your husband sucks your child's nose when she has, a flu. That's not the situation with me. I have to do that personally. And oh my God. Okay, can I just say how weird mucus tastes?
But
Because it has this saute. There's a salty taste to it that sometimes you just mistakenly swallow. Oh my God. Hey, I said, it just happens.
why
It's
are
not
you
like you intend to
swallowing?
swallow the mucus. It's just sometimes it hits you at the back of your throat and you're like, oh, I forgot to spit it out. and then like a bit of it has been swallowed. There is nothing you can do about it. You just accept it and move on. But yeah, so
There's
that's
nothing we
that's
can do
about being
about
a
that.
single mom. But
Um,
like
yeah.
one thing that I would I think this is something that you and I actually talked about at some point, where I remember some time ago you were just like, sometimes married moms can be single moms. And I wanted us to reflect on that because the day that you told me that, it kind of hit hard because I was like, what?
Mm.
How you guys like us? Like, we're meant to be different. What do you mean we're just like, we're the same? So I wanted you to reflect on that. Why do you think sometimes married moms can be single moms in their marriage?
Um, okay, let me start. Like, I'm gonna rewind a bit and um, start from me and say, because I've been around a lot of mothers, and I've kind of gained insight. Even before I had my child, I kind of had an idea of what I was in for because I've been around a lot of children, a lot of mothers, and all of that, which is where that statement kind of came from. Um, it's also before I go and indulge into this, um, I think it's also the dynamic that you have in your household. So knowing your partner, understanding your partner, getting what works for the both of you, because there's no standard template. So whatever, you can take stuff from household A and think it'll fit like a glove in household B, because you don't know what the dynamic in the second household is. I'll give you an example of, just say, maybe you are a
Yeah,
nurse or a doctor and you work shifts, and your husband has a proper 9 to 5 job. So obviously, when you're not at home, the other person has to see what goes on with the children. Just say you're working nights and they need to go to school in the morning. So in terms of things like that, that would mean your household has the shared responsibility. And then just say household B has a stay-at-home mom and the husband works a 9 to 5. Obviously, the dynamic is going to be different in that household. So there are certain things like that it's because of your environment and how your household is, that you you have to see what works for you. That being said, let's take example of the first household where the husband has a 9 to 5 and whatever. If that husband, maybe you will say, when you're at home, you've just come from a shift, and you still need to oversee what lunches or whatever. Like, there's no help. Let me put it that way. So you still have to come back home, do the washing, make sure homeworks are done. Of course, you're at home, but then certain things, when it comes to the children, you are allowing this other person to rest. And then while they do have time to rest, they can also do the other things. So in as much as you're seeing that the children have gone to school, they've eaten in the morning, they've done their homeworks and all of that, when they come back, this other person must
yeah,
not feel like there's still like tons to do. So shared responsibility, because you understand that your
yeah,
partner is working and this is the way that they're working. Household B, where there's a stay-at-home mom, you really, I can't expect the husband to come from work and start cooking or make sure the child is up, is good, laundry is done and all of that, and they're coming from a 9 to 5, but the stay-at-home mom was at home the whole day. So of course the majority of the household responsibilities will fall onto you. But when it's like a weekend and I want to have a nap, or I want to go for a walk, or I'm taking an hour away to do something, then I should be able to do that. And it also comes in terms of, just say the child is sick and who's doing what, who's the emergency contact. Does it all have to be you all the time? So it doesn't mean that, like, sometimes if this other person is not there 100% of the time, doesn't mean like you are alone. But there's certain things, like maybe the child is sick and you have to wake up at night, and then the other person is just sleeping through the night, and it's all on you type thing, not
Yeah.
even checking what's going on, or you know
It, yeah.
that's a totally different situation. So it's things like that. It's not a standardized thing to say, okay, so you are a single mom if you're in a marriage, because this is the standard for it. This is how you know that you are. It's not really like that, but it's certain things, especially when it comes to times where you need to
Yeah.
rest and kind of put your head down and things like that. If you've been carrying the load for so long, then you should be able to take downtime when the time comes. If you're not able to do that, and you're constantly not able to do that, then we start having questions. We start thinking things like that and saying things like that, because you are literally
Wow,
on your
that
own,
that
even though
is
you have
very
somebody.
insightful. But yeah, I totally understand that. Not in that situation. I'm not in that situation, but I totally understand that. And I feel like a lot of women are actually in marriages, but end up raising kids on their own. You know, where they have the husband there, but in actual
Mm,
senses, the kids are theirs, and they are the ones doing all the raising and everything else. And then, yeah, so I totally understand now that narrative where
everything,
you're like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, sometimes you might be married, but in actual senses, you're a single mom with just a status that you're married, which is not as fancy as, a lot of people would like to think it is.
No, man. And it's also, like, our cultures and things like that it's also like a mindset shift that is needed with
Yeah,
the on the other side of the fence with the men, because society also grooms them to say, if I'm providing money, if I'm giving you this, but money is not time, money is not time spent with the children, even it's not um, it's not being there for the person. So of course you're doing this, and we are appreciative of it, but you as the presence is also needed. And then you also get some daddies who are like the good parents. They're like
oh,
all fun and good times, and then when it's time to discipline and all of that, it falls on the one side, like.
ye-
So it's it's a lot. It's a lot of things that happens, but like I said, it's not always the same. One, it's not always the same. Two, it's not always everything in the same person or same household or same couple or whatever. It's not always everything. So there's no standard. But like I said, if you want to like just check yourself, it's things like that, especially with rest and recuperating as a parent, that even if you're still a stay-at-home mom and you're at home with the kids every day, I've been there. I know how it is, like you just
yeah.
need time for you, even if it's just to sleep, just to get away from this, because it's constant, it's every day. I remember, I think a couple of months after my child started learning how to walk, she would literally follow me into the toilet. She didn't want me to close the door. I think she thought I was gone when the door is closed or whatever. So she wanted to see me. She would follow
Yeah.
me everywhere, everywhere. And it used to get on my nerves so bad, because I literally can't do anything without this
I'm in
child.
that
You can't even go
situation.
and
I'm in that
go to the
situation
toilet and
currently, so I
pee,
understand what you
not
mean.
even privacy there, you know. So that's like another thing as well. So like when you do need the time to like kind of run away from this person and need time to sleep and whatever, you should be able to get it. And for me, I think that has been like a constant what
Yeah.
that's how I check that. that's how I check myself to see where am I in terms of that. Yeah, but how about you? Like, how is the experience of being a single mom? I know you spoke about being the default parent. I kind of call my husband the emergency parent because when he's
Yeah.
when everything needs emergency contact, I always put his details first, so they call him first when it's emergencies, and then I'm happy to take care of everything else. So how, besides being the default parent and the father being secondary parent, being emergency parent or parent number one, how is the experience like for you, um, on a standard day? Let's say on a standard day, you're going through the motions, you're going through life on a day that you're at home with Evan.
Um,
How is that experience?
that is a very interesting question considering I yesterday was one of those days. It's it's not really one of the best things to go through when you have some sort of an emotional day and you have to also be a
Oh my
parent to a
word.
child. um, there are days when I remember yesterday because I was going through
Mm.
that, and I remember just calling my best friend and I was like, you know what, I keep telling this child we're both children in the eyes of God, like he needs to treat me as well, not because I need him to see me as a kid.
Oh my goodness.
Not because I need him to see me as a child, but I think it gets to a point where
Can you ever?
there's this mental exhaustion that you go through, as a mom, where everything just it
Mm,
drains you. Like you get drained emotionally. You just get
mm,
drained. And days like those sometimes you can't really just pick up the phone and be like, hey, can you come look after the baby? Because at the end of the day, you also realize that it goes back to I am the one who's responsible for this child. And I think it's a mental
yeah.
thing where as a mom, you just, you accept that responsibility. You're like, this is my child. I am the actual person responsible, and I don't want to put that on
Mm,
anyone else, even if it's the father.
yeah.
You just feel like, you're putting something on them when you can totally do it by yourself. So it's, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And at the
It's
end of
like
the day,
instinct.
you
It
can't even
just
say, hey,
kicks
come look after
in.
the baby because, even if they do and they're looking after the child, if something goes wrong, you still have to be there. You still have to look after. So basically, if you call the like if you call the
Oh
dad
my word, it's so
over
funny
and
that you
if
say
he has
that.
to look after the child, you're basically looking after now two kids. Now the mental exhaustion is now mental exhaustioning. Like it's over
Mm.
draining you. You're already drained and then you become more drained. Now you're just a skinny cow not knowing what to do. So it's not as easy. I have
Mm.
most of the times when I'm complaining, like, oh, I'm very drained. I wish someone could just look after Evan because, let's say on a Saturday, my maid is at church, my mom's at work, so I'm just with the baby alone. So I have to do the cooking, I have to do the cleaning, I have to play with him, I have to make sure this is done, that is done, that is done. All these things just fall on my head. So when you're complaining, like, hey, I wish someone could just you know be be there, look after the child while you do other things or just rest. I get every single time I get, oh, then why not just call the dad? And I'm like, yeah, but if I do, it means I also have to look after him because he'll be looking after the baby and then I have to look after both of them, which doesn't make sense to me because all it does is agitate me more. So it's not the easiest thing. But then it also comes with an issue of, and this I am thinking about right now. It comes with a thing of lack of communication. Like I said, you accept the responsibility of the baby. The only problem is you don't really feel like you need to communicate with your partner. And I think this is where things start going south.
Mm.
You feel like you shouldn't communicate. So for example, I don't think I've ever had a time when I've said, "Hey, I need you to come look after the baby because I'm tired." I don't think it's ever happened because I just, like I said, you just totally get it in your brain where you're like, "Yeah, it's my kid. This is my responsibility." So there's an issue also with, and I don't speak for every single mom. I'm speaking for me, where I don't
Mm.
have that time, or I don't have that thought where I'm like, call the dad, ask him to do this, ask him to do that. Because also, I think sometimes you just feel like they need, as people, they need to have that mental thought where it's like, oh, hey, maybe like, today let me go do this. The only unfortunate thing is with a lot of dads is they're waiting for that baby to grow up and then they can have good times when that baby is grown. So the stage when they're kids, it's like that is your
Mm-mm.
full responsibility. And then when they're grown and can walk on their own, they're no longer wearing diapers, that's when they're like, ah, I can now move around with this child, bring him back. I'll like go everywhere with him. So it's a thing of lack of communication from a lot of women.
Oh my word. I am laughing so hard because um yeah, stuff that you're saying is literally like I've heard stuff like that. I've heard
But
it. I'm
yeah,
like, Louisa, you know exactly what it is. That's
yeah,
why I'm
it's
laughing
it's
so bad because I'm like,
it's
yes,
really
that
it's
happened.
really
Yes,
something
I've heard
that
that
now that I'm
before.
thinking about it, I'm like,
Yes.
wow, that is a red flag from my point because I need to communicate better. But at the same time, I'm like, that is a red flag from him too because why is he not offering time? you know, so it's
Mm.
it's a two-way, and yeah,
A big, can I just tell you something? Um, I think I think men in general, I don't know, maybe let me say the majority of men. Let me not paintbrush everybody with one whatever. Yeah, that. Let me not do that. But I think you like if you don't give instructions and tell them that, hey, I'm tired,
yeah,
I need you to come give me a break here. I need to rest. If you don't say it, and even more so
yeah.
when they don't get to see that you're tired, you just better send a message or call or whatever. Don't ever expect, to get a random, are you tired? I'm gonna come
Yeah,
over.
but that's what
Because
I'm
that,
saying. It's not
that
really
doesn't
something
happen.
for me to improve or for women in general to improve, for ladies to improve. It's also a thing for men to improve, you know? Learn when to step in and be like, hey, I just want to take this load
Mm,
off of you for like a day. It's because like I'm saying, it's hard for me to put it out there because I feel it is my responsibility, regardless. I feel like it is my responsibility. My child is my responsibility. Everything about him is my responsibility. So if no one offers up help, I oftentimes don't feel the need to ask for it because I'm always just like, at the end of the day, this is my thing, like this is my child. This is what I have to do. So even like with friends and family, with my best friend, she can't say, "Hey, I'll come over and watch the baby." I have to ask and be like, "Hey, can you come over and watch the baby? I'm really tired today." And I noticed that it's not like she doesn't want to help. It's mostly because I don't tell her to help me. So she often feels, hey, she has it all sorted out. When in actual senses, I
mm,
am dying. Like, I just need that 1 hour, 2 hours sleep, just to like sleep, go in nothing land and dream of, I don't know, anything, unicorns or whatever, and then come back to life and be like, oh, hey, I have a new found energy. I can be a mom again. Yay! Yeah, because it's really hard, especially when you're a
I'm
single
good
mom who
now.
has to work, because you go from going to work, coming home, having to, look after your child, make sure they're sorted, everything is sorted. So sometimes it gets to a point where you start forgetting yourself, where you're like, maybe I don't really matter. I I just have to put concentrate on the baby. If that's fine, I'm fine. But doesn't have to be like
Mm.
that, because at the end of the day, if you don't put yourself first, it doesn't help. I need to take my own advice. Yeah, this is a reminder to myself to take my own advice, because look at me sharing all this wisdom. But when I go, like when this is over and done with, I'll go back to my usual self, like, I'm tired.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like it shouldn't be like that.
And
Louisa
not
should
speak to
not be like
people.
that. You need to communicate. So
Communicate and take breaks.
I
Yeah.
know you said, like during the off times, you get time to take a walk, nap and whatnot. But what happens now with the baby? I know you have a child, you don't have any other help than your husband and maybe relatives. Do you guys ever just like spend time on your own without the child? Like, she's 3, so probably it's easier just to like go ship her off somewhere and be like, hey, come back on this day when we're ready to be parents again. But like, do you guys spend time on your own?
Oh my word. Hi. Oh, it had gone quiet. Um, we're planning
What?
to, for the first time in 3 years, we're planning to have a weekend. I think for me it's hard because I don't have I don't have immediate family around me as support structure or anything like that. We live quite some distance away from my in-laws as well, and they're like the closest people that I closest relative close to us. So yeah, so we haven't really had proper, unless like if she's like taking a nap and then you'll like have an hour and we'll like chat in that hour or
Yeah.
decide we won't even leave the house because you're like, what if she wakes up? So we're always with her. And so yeah, I haven't really had like proper time where it's just us
Yeah.
for like more than a couple of hours at a time. We haven't had that since she was born actually. But we're planning to because she's older
Yes.
now. Like you say,
Keep
we
her
can ship her
off.
off.
And then, yeah.
Ship her off. Oh my god, that sounds so bad, so wrong. Um, but in regards to like me, I think when she was younger, especially in the first year, call it maybe a year and a half when I was still breastfeeding. I never like I was always with my child, like literally always with my child. Even time to I would just sleep when at night when we sleep during the day. Most of the time, I couldn't do anything with her. She liked being held and all of that and being played with. So when she took a nap, that's when like I'd get to clean the house and do things either before she wakes up in the morning or when she takes a nap. That's when like I'm cleaning the house, doing what I need to do, and then so I wouldn't rest when she was sleeping. It was hard for me to like squeeze me time into there. So yeah, we are planning on a weekend, hopefully soon rather than later. I think like for me, personally, just me and me time. When she was younger, I would say maybe for the first 18 months of her life, it was really, really hard she didn't sleep through the night or anything like that when she was young. So in the morning, I'd get up like a little bit earlier so I can start cleaning the house and things like that. And then when she'll take a nap in the afternoon, I'll carry on doing that. So like whenever she's awake, I literally stop and just play with this baby and just mind her because she she didn't like being left alone. She didn't like that. But after that, I think like after I stopped breastfeeding her, then it got better. She was getting older, so I could like ask my husband to just watch her here and there, and I'll take a nap, or you know, like whatever was needed. And like the older she's getting, the more independent she's getting as well. Like she'll play on her own and things like that every now and then. So it's getting better, and it's also giving me a better opportunity to like make time for me. So yeah, it is getting better. Um, but I wanted to find out from you is like, how do you balance, like just like a brief, quick, like in one line. Let me put, okay, maybe not one. Let's say three, in 3 lines. How do you balance like exhaustion, especially being a working mom, you know? So how do you manage exhaustion?
Okay, so I totally feel like your audio and your video are separated because I noticed you stopped talking a minute ago, but I could still hear things you were saying. So, how do I balance my exhaustion? I don't think I have an answer for that because I'm going to lie. Um, I am so totally going to lie about that. The only There have been times when I'm like, I'm so exhausted. I want to rest, but you can't. You don't rest. There's no rest. Because, like I said, everything has to run through me. Oh, not run through me, run by me. So there's nothing like I'm just going to take some time off, you know. This is pretty much the one time when I separate from my child because everyone knows, oh, mommy has to, record stuff. She does stuff. She creates stuff. So this is the only time when I'm home and I get separated from my child. But I don't think now it's a year. I don't think there's ever been a time when I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
this
there's
is
a lag.
yeah,
Yeah,
so when I'm home, I
yeah.
sleep when he does. I wake up when he does. Even if I'm
Is
still
this
sleepy,
cool?
I wake up. I wake up when he wakes up. I sleep when he sleeps.
Oh,
I eat after he eats. So everything really centers around him and what he's doing. There is nothing like I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to no, nothing like that. You really just you schedule your time around his time. So right now, when I go to work, I have to work. When I come home, I know that my time depends on whatever he's
yeah.
doing. There's nothing like, oh, I'm home and I'm tired, let me just rest. Nope. Because, oh, I'm home basically means, hey, come over. Like, now you get to experience me. And I guess it's lovely, but it gets to a point where you're just like, I can't wait for you to grow up so you can do this on your own, you can do that on your own, and you don't have to be as excited to see me because that would mean I have to rest. So there's a bittersweet to everything, and that's one of the things. And I really honestly cannot wait for the day when I just take time off and I'm all by myself and I can just sleep as much as I can, eat as much as I want, and just have a lazy day by myself without hearing a child cry. So, like I said, there is no, stopping with the exhaustion. There is nothing like taking a break or whatever. You just get on with it and you survive it. So, hopefully, we get better at some point. Hopefully, things aren't like this all the time. Well, they won't be like this. It's just a phase.
Mm.
I like to tell myself that it's just a phase. I will get better at it. I will learn how to maneuver, my time and, everything properly as time goes by. But currently, I don't even think I try. And that's just about it. So this has been an amazing chat. Um, one of the best recordings I think we've done. It was just awesome talking about.
We're getting better at it.
Yes, we are. Tell us about it. Do you think we're getting better? Where please every single time we upload an episode, be sure to tell us what you think we should improve on or anything. That feedback
Yes.
is always amazing because it
Mm.
helps us. It helps us create better content, create better episodes, and yeah, we will truly appreciate it. So this has been an awesome chat. Had fun while at it. And yeah, I can't believe we're actually, at the end. But I can't wait for the next episode. I hope you guys like the video. I hope you follow us, you subscribe to our channel. Please do share the video with anyone that you think can relate
Share
to the topic.
everywhere.
It is awesome just to, see the growth. And we're still trying to get to 100 subscribers. Now I can see when we're looking at all these analytics, we see about 56% of everyone that's watching is not subscribed. I do not know why. Please subscribe now. It won't take you too long to subscribe. Honestly, it's just a
It
button
won't.
away.
And hit the notification button too. So every time we upload something, you are the first to know. Yeah,
Exactly.
subscribe, man. Why are you not subscribing? Subscribe and tell people to subscribe. Doesn't make sense. Don't you want to have
And
fun with us?
And follow us on our social media pages. It is Becoming a Mommy One on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. I might have, yeah, follow us. Even we're on TikTok too. So if you want to,
Yes.
yeah, follow us on our social media so
Wow.
that you know before anyone what we're doing. So yeah, it's been awesome having you guys. Thank you so much, Sue, for this chat. We will see you guys in the next episode. Have a
Until
lovely
next
week.
time.
Exactly. Bye.